The glass elevator at Morgan Technologies hums softly, pulling me upward through a cathedral of steel and ambition. Each floor a silent tick toward a moment I've orchestrated for 2 years. My reflection flickers in the polished walls, a 28-year-old woman in a simple gray blazer bought on clearance at Macy's. Nothing like the tailored suits gliding past me. My fingers brush the leather of my briefcase, heavy with secrets that could topple empires, or at least one man's ego. Below Chicago's skyline sprawls oblivious to the reckoning awaiting on the 45th floor. I've waited, planned, and sacrificed for this day. And as the numbers climb, I wonder, will they finally see me? Not as the shadow of my brother, but as the architect of my destiny. The elevator doors slide open at the 38th floor, and a man in a navy suit steps in his cufflinks, glinting like tiny stars. He doesn't glance my way, assuming I'm just another junior analyst or receptionist, a nobody in this corporate cosmos. I nod politely, letting him believe it. My phone buzzes in my pocket, and I know without looking it's Marcus. My brother with another directive, I pull it out, and there it is. Where are you? Stay in the back. Don't draw attention. This is my night. His words sting, but I don't reply. Instead, I watch the floors tick by 3940, each number a step closer to the boardroom where Marcus expects to be crowned Senior Vice President of Operations. Growing up, Marcus was the sun in our family's orbit. With his easy smile and calculated charm, he could talk his way into anything: a teacher's favor, a summer job, our parents' pride. I was the moon, pale and quiet, buried in business books while he dazzled. Why can't you be more like your brother? My mother would sigh, her eyes lingering on Marcus's trophies. I'd bite my tongue, retreating to my room to study finance and strategy, determined to carve my path. When I earned my MBA at 26, Marcus smirked, calling it just paper compared to his real-world hustle. Our parents nodded as if my degree were a consolation prize. The elevator hums past the 42nd floor, and I adjust my blazer, smoothing a crease. 2 years ago, I started my consulting firm, a silly little project, in Marcus's words. While he climbed Morgan's ranks, I worked nights advising tech startups and quietly buying shares in their competitors. Every late-night spreadsheet, every handshake with investors led to this moment. My briefcase holds the proof documents detailing my acquisition of a controlling interest in Morgan Technologies. Marcus has no idea. Neither do our parents, who still see me as the academic who plays it safe. The man in the navy suit exits at the 44th floor, leaving me alone as the elevator dings for the 45th. My heart beats steadily, not with fear but with purpose. I step out the sleek hallway, stretching before me like a runway to my future. Memories of Marcus's taunts echo his voice at last month's family dinner, cutting through the clink of wine glasses, Evelyn still hiding in books, while I'm about to make history at Morgan. My parents beamed, oblivious to the empire I'd built in the shadows. I clutch my briefcase tighter, its weight grounding me. The boardroom doors loom ahead. Glass panels revealing a crowd gathered for Marcus's triumph. But this isn't his story, it's mine, and it's only just beginning. The Morgan Technologies conference room door gleamed under recessed lights, a portal to Marcus's moment of glory, or so he thought. I paused in the hallway, my reflection a ghostly shadow on the glass, a woman carrying 2 years of secrets in my briefcase, a silent witness to the drama about to unfold. My brother's text was still imprinted on my mind. Stay behind. Don't embarrass me. But I wasn't here to fade into obscurity. I was here to rewrite the script, and as I pushed through the door, I felt the weight of every late night, every calculated risk pushing me forward. Inside the conference room buzzed with anticipation. Mahogany tables stretched beneath crystal chandeliers, and executives in tailored suits whispered their eyes on Marcus. He stood near the front, his smile like a polished weapon. He held court, shaking hands, his laugh ringing as if he had been crowned. Our parents sat in the front row, my mother's pearls glinting, my father's tie knotted to perfection. They beamed with pride, their golden child about to become the youngest senior vice president in Morgan history. I slipped into the room, keeping my distance from everyone without anyone noticing. It was fine. I had spent years being invisible to them. I find a spot near the back, my briefcase at my feet. Memories of last month's family dinner surface sharp as a blade. Marcus had leaned back in his chair, slicing into his steak, his voice dripping with condescension. Evelyn's still playing professor while I'm closing deals that keep Morgan ahead. My mother had beamed her fork, pausing midair. We're so proud of you, sweetheart. Some people just aren't built for the corporate grind. My father nodded, adding academia suits Evelyn. It's safe, predictable. I'd smiled, sipped my water, and said nothing. They didn't know I'd been meeting with Morgan's CEO Miranda Chin for months. Not about Marcus's promotion, but about something far bigger. Marcus saw me now, his smile fading. He pushed through the crowd, striding purposefully, and stopped a few inches away, his voice a low hiss. I told you to stay behind, Evelyn. This is my moment. Don't try to socialize or anything. He glanced at me, a smirk curving his lips, and try to be professional, at least. Don't mention that we're related. I returned his gaze, my voice soft but steady. Don't worry, Marcus. I'm not here to steal your attention. He snorted, turning away satisfied that I wasn't a threat. I checked my watch. 6:55 p.m. Right on schedule, Miranda Chin would be there in 5 minutes to make the announcement. The room quiets as executives take their seats, the air thick with expectation. I stand, my fingers brushing the briefcase. Marcus returns to the front, straightening his tie, his confidence a tangible force. Our parents lean forward, my mother clutching her purse. My father's eyes fixed on his son. They've always seen Marcus as the star, the one who'd carry the family name to greatness. I was the afterthought, the daughter who chose books over boardrooms. Or so they thought. They don't know about the shares I've acquired, the competitors I've outmaneuvered, the empire I've built, while they praised Marcus's every step. A murmur rippled through the crowd as the doors to the conference room opened. Miranda Chin strode in her presence, commanding her tailored black suit, as sharp as her reputation. She approached the podium, notebook in hand, and I felt a surge of anticipation. Marcus adjusted his cufflinks, ready for his name to be called. He didn't know what was coming. None of them did. I shifted my weight and my posture became more confident. The stage was set, and I was no longer the invisible sister. In a moment, the world would see me for who I truly was, and Marcus would learn the price of underestimating me. The conference room's crystal chandeliers cast prisms across the polished mahogany, but all eyes were on Miranda Chin at the podium, her voice cutting through the expectant silence like a knife through silk. I stood back, my heart pounding steadily as I watched Marcus groom himself, his navy, a second skin of confidence. And I felt the weight of 2 years, every late-night trade, every hidden stock purchase converging into this moment. I knew I was no longer the sister hiding in the background. I was the storm that was about to hit. And as Miranda's eyes swept the room, I knew the tide was turning. Ladies and gentlemen, Miranda began her notes, rustling with obvious purpose. Thank you for joining us at Morgan Technologies. Tonight, we're announcing not just a promotion, but a new chapter for our company. Marcus straightened his triumphant smile, as if certain his name was next. Our parents leaned forward in the front row, my father's hands clasped in anticipation. I shifted my weight, my gray Macy's coat a badge of my journey, modest but worthy. Miranda's voice sharpened. Before we discuss promotions, I must share an important development. For the past year, I've been searching for a leader with vision, integrity, and a bold grasp of the future of our industry. Marcus's grin widens, his cufflinks catching the light. He doesn't see Miranda's eyes flicker toward me, a signal we've rehearsed in clandestine meetings. That search, she continues, led me to someone whose business acumen is matched by their innovative spirit. Someone who, without fanfare, built an investment portfolio, controlling 3 of our major competitors. A murmur ripples through the room. Marcus's smile falters a crack in his polished facade. My pulse quickens, not with nerves, but with the thrill of a plan unfolding. This individual, Miranda says, has as of this morning acquired a 51% stake in Morgan Technologies through strategic share purchases. The murmurs grow louder, a tide of confusion. Marcus's face pales, his tie suddenly too tight. Our parents exchange glances, their pride curdling into unease. Miranda pauses, letting the tension coil, then extends her hand toward me. Please join me in welcoming the new owner and CEO of Morgan Technologies, Dr. Evelyn Mitchell. The room freezes a tableau of shock. Marcus stumbles his prepared speech, slipping from his fingers to the floor. My mother's purse drops with a soft thud, my father's jaw slack. I step forward, my heels clicking on the hardwood each step, a reclamation of years spent in their shadows. The crowd parted the executives, staring as I approached the podium. Miranda stepped aside, her slight nod, a sign of our alliance. I set down the briefcase, the contents, the proof of my purchase waiting behind. "Thank you, Miranda," I said, my voice clear. Filling the stunned silence, I had defeated them all, not with charm, but with relentless strategy. Marcus's eyes met mine, betrayed and disbelieving. Our parents sat like statues, their worlds turned upside down. I glanced across the room, seeing Jennifer Torres, a young executive, watching with quiet curiosity. She would be part of what came next. For now, I stood tall, the conference room. My command, Morgan Technologies, I began, is about to change. Let's talk about why. There was silence, a breath before the plunge. I had been waiting for this, not to gloat, but to prove what hard work and vision could do. Marcus's moment had passed. My moment was just beginning, and as I gripped the podium, I knew this was just the first step in a larger plan. It was getting dark outside, but I felt illuminated, ready to lead, ready to reshape everything. The stunned silence in the conference room stretched like the aftershock of a thunderclap. My words still echoing as I stood at the podium, the new CEO of Morgan Technologies. Marcus swayed near the front, his face ashen with disbelief. The windows dimmed into twilight, but the tension in the room burned brightly. All eyes on me. I had only just taken the reins of the company, but the real work began now, exposing the cracks in Marcus's carefully constructed image and setting the tone for what Morgan would become under my watch. Before we move forward, I said, my voice, "Even there is still unfinished business. Marcus, please join me." The room moved, the whispers echoing like static. Marcus stiffened, his eyes darting as if searching for an escape. Our parents, sitting in the front row, gripped their chairs, my mother's knuckles white, my father's face flushed. "Marcus?" I repeated, letting a steel note creep into my voice. He moved, each step stiff, as if pulled by an invisible chain. The crowd watched. He stepped onto the podium, standing a foot away, his breathing uneven. I opened my briefcase, took out a thick sheaf of evidence, its weight like a promise kept. As you know, I addressed the room. Marcus was slated to become Senior Vice President of Operations. That plan has changed. Marcus's head snaps up, hope and fear warring in his eyes. I hold up a document, its pages crisp. Over the past year, I've reviewed every decision Marcus has made. His sales figures are strong, but his methods raise questions. I pause, letting the words sink in. Take the Harrison account. Marcus claimed credit for a proposal crafted by Jennifer Torres while she was on maternity leave. A gasp ripples through the crowd. Jennifer, seated midway, sits straighter, her eyes wide. Marcus's jaw tightens. "That's not," he starts, but I press on. "Then there's the Stevens Technology merger," I say, extracting another file. Marcus omitted a $50 million pension liability during due diligence, a fact he knew but buried to secure the deal. The room erupts in murmurs, executives leaning toward each other. Marcus's voice breaks through, shaky. "You're twisting it. Evelyn, in business you make tough calls. You wouldn't understand hiding in your ivory tower." I turn to him, my gaze unwavering. Tough calls don't mean stealing credit or deceiving the board. They mean integrity. Something Morgan will now demand. Our father stands, his voice booming. "This is outrageous. You can't smear your brother like this." I meet his eyes, calm but firm. "I'm not smearing, Dad. I'm presenting facts compiled over months of audits. Marcus's charm has carried him far. But it stops here." I turn to the crowd, my voice rising. Morgan Technologies thrives on talent and honesty. Starting today, we reward those who embody that. I find Jennifer in the audience. "Ms. Torres, I'd like to meet tomorrow to discuss your role in the Harrison project and leading our digital transformation initiative." Jennifer's face lights up, a slow smile spreading as Marcus seems to shrink beside me. The whispers grow louder, a tide of realization. My mother rises, her heels clicking sharply. "Evelyn, this is jealousy, plain and simple. You've always resented Marcus's success. I hold her gaze, my heart steady. No, Mom. I've resented being dismissed while Marcus coasted on lies that ends now. Miranda. Chin steps forward, her voice smooth. Mrs. Mitchell, perhaps we should continue this privately. The board has announcements to make. I nod. My office? I say, gesturing to the corner suite prepared for me. As Marcus and our parents follow their steps heavy, I catch Jennifer's nod of gratitude. The boardroom murmurs fade as we exit, but I feel the shift. Morgan is mine, and I'm just beginning. In the hallway. Marcus's shoulders slumped, his defiance crumbling. I clutched my briefcase, the remaining documents a roadmap for what came next. Outside was now a tapestry of city lights reflecting my resolve I had exposed Marcus. But this wasn't about revenge. It was about building something better for Morgan, for Jennifer, for all those who had been overlooked. As we approached my office, I knew the most difficult conversation awaited, but I was ready. I had deserved this moment, and I would not back down. The heavy oak door of my new corner office slammed shut, drowning out the hushed murmur of the conference room, and I found myself face to face with Marcus and our parents, in a space that smelled of leather and new ambition. Lake Michigan sparkled beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, its waves a relentless mirror of the storm brewing here. I had just claimed ownership of Morgan Technologies' exposed Marcus's deception, and now beside me its remaining documents was a silent jury. But this moment was not about corporate conquest, but about the destruction of a family's warped foundation. As Marcus's eyes burned with rage, I braced myself for the reckoning I had planned as carefully as my takeover. Marcus explodes before I can speak, his voice a jagged edge. You've lost it, Evelyn. You can't just waltz in and ruin everything I've built. His suit, once a symbol of triumph, hangs loose, as if his confidence has deflated. I take my seat, the leather chair creaking under my weight. I didn't ruin anything. Marcus, you did with every shortcut and lie. I own 51% of Morgan. Now every move goes through me. My father steps forward, his face flushed. How this company's worth billions. Where'd you get that kind of money? His tone carries the old dismissal, as if I'm still the bookish girl who couldn't possibly outshine his son. I lean back, fingers tracing the desk's edge. My consulting firm, the one you called a hobby. It optimized tech companies, identified acquisition targets, and turned profits that I reinvested. I didn't need a penthouse or a sports car. I needed control. My mother's voice trembles, her faded designer scarf slipping. But you live in that cramped apartment, drive a beat-up sedan. You shop at Macy's. I nod. Because every dollar went into this, while you bankrolled Marcus's failures. Marcus flinches and I pull a manila envelope from my briefcase, spreading its contents across the desk. Bank statements, property records, wire transfers. These show 5 years of transfers from your accounts to Marcus. I say, my voice low but unyielding. Money from remortgaging your house twice to cover his gambling debts and failed ventures. My mother gasps, her hand clutching her throat. He said it was for investments, she whispers. My father's shoulders sag. Special opportunities. I slide a statement forward. He lost it all. The second mortgage payment is due next week. You can't pay it. The room feels smaller, the air thick with their dawning panic. My father's voice cracks. We thought, maybe you could help. I pull another document, its terms stark. Morgan Technologies will buy your house at market value, clear both mortgages, and let you stay at 30% below market rent. But there are conditions. I meet their eyes unflinching. You'll attend financial counseling, you'll stop funding Marcus, and you'll sign a letter acknowledging how you've sidelined me for years. My mother's tears spill, smudging her mascara. That's blackmail. I shake my head. It's accountability. You've poured everything into Marcus, called me a failure, and now you're drowning. This is your lifeline. Marcus lunges forward, his voice hoarse. You're sending me to Minneapolis. A sales manager, I'm better than that. I stand, my blazer crisp against the desk's sheen. You were set for vice president, but your ethics make that impossible. Minneapolis is a fresh start. Your flight's tomorrow, first class. I'm not cruel. My father slams a fist on the desk. We'll fight this. I cut in calm as steel. The board approved these changes weeks ago. You three were the only ones in the dark. I slide the agreement forward, a pen beside it. Sign, keep your home, and we'll rebuild. Or don't lose everything and enable Marcus's spiral. The silence stretched as heavy as the depth of the lake outside. My mother reached for the pen, her hand shaking, and signed. My father followed, his face etched with defeat. Marcus stared, then turned away, his fight over. As they left, I saw my reflection in the window. My resolve, my victory. This was not revenge. It was truth, hard and necessary. My phone buzzed, a text from Miranda confirming the board's support. I was ready for what was next for my family and the company I would reshape. 3 months later, my office overlooks the winter glow of Lake Michigan, the Chicago skyline, a mosaic of progress under a gray dawn. I've swapped my Macy's blazer for one. I've chosen simple, unadorned, reflective of who I am. My desk is littered with reports, evidence of Morgan Technologies' transformation. I've just read Jennifer Torres's latest update. Her digital initiative has increased efficiency by 30%, exposing more of Marcus's buried flaws. Minneapolis reports a blizzard. I wonder if Marcus has found his footing yet. As I sip my coffee, a knock on the door interrupts my thoughts. Jennifer with news that opens up Morgan's future and my family's fragile redemption. Jennifer enters her tablet glowing with data. The Stevens audit's done, she says, confident now as head of digital transformation. You were right, Marcus hid more than the pension liability. We found $10 million in overstated assets. I nod, unsurprised. Send the report. And Jennifer, you're doing exceptional work. She beams, leaving me to my thoughts. My parents requested this meeting, their first since signing the agreement. The door opens and they enter, thinner, their designer clothes frayed. My mother's voice is soft. Evelyn, we've been trying to reach you, Marcus. He's struggling. I gesture to the chairs. His sales are below target, I say, pulling up his file. Minneapolis demands results. Not charm, I've ensured his work is scrutinized. My father frowns. It's too harsh. I lean forward. It's what he needs. He's hit rock bottom, admitted his gambling to his director. I've enrolled him in a program for addiction and ethics training. My mother's eyes welled up. You did that? I nod, not for praise, but for change. They exchange glances, and my mother whispers, "We're sorry, Evelyn." For everything, I stood up and walked to the window, the icy lake reflecting my resolve. The advisors will call tomorrow, I said. Let's stick to the agreement and we'll rebuild. They nodded, leaving a little light their respect for me. A new spark, I returned to my desk, assembling reports for the board. In the boardroom, I presented our expansion plan, a $500 million investment in AI. My voice steadied the board, standing tall as I entered. My new jacket fit perfectly, a symbol of my path. Success, I told them, was proving you right. As I rode down the glass elevator, I knew I was just getting started.